we go. Okay, great. So before we get into two truths and a lie, I just want to give you a sense of the class. So this is the only class where someone is co-teaching. So what Ralph and I did was we got together, talked about, what's critical with leadership and organizational behavior, and we decided on the major topics we wanted to tackle, and then we really split up based on people's areas of expertise, who's going to spearhead each topic. So for me, you're working through Ripple. There's a unit on purpose, which is getting a lot of recognition, really in all kinds of industries. So you're going to look at personal purpose and helping to really solidify that and clarify that. And then you're going to go in and look at organizational purpose. That really is going to be focused more on companies because nonprofits tend to be purpose-born. They wouldn't be there if there weren't sort of a greater reason. They're not about making $1 bajillion. That's just not how nonprofits work. So I will ask you to delve into companies for that one. I'll also spearhead employee engagement, and I'm actually writing a book on that right now. So that pretty much is every weekend of my life until I get it to my editor. And then looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so if you have questions about those sorts of things, come to me. And, the ones that Ralph is spearheading, obviously go to him. We have different styles. So it's cool to, I think, for the students when people are co-teaching, because your learning style is going to mesh probably better with one of us than the other. So at least in this course, you're going to have some opportunity to really sort of align. Of course, you're welcome to align with both of us, but if a particular person speaks to your style, then it's really lovely that you get a choice in that area. So for example, I like having some synchronous meetings. I think it's really important. I'm a social creature, and I was reading in your intros for today that a lot of you are social creatures. And so I like doing that. Ralph is really big on working with case studies, and I don't use that style. So you'll see, anyway, different styles, and hopefully at least one of us will speak to how you learn. So that said, actually, you will be working on a research proposal as an individual and then as a team in the latter part of the semester. And Ralph and I are going to tackle that together in giving you feedback and providing guidance and that sort of thing. So why don't we talk about questions about the course first and get kind of the nitty-gritty out of the way first. So what questions do you have?
I have a question.
Go for it.
So I spoke with some other folks that I know that have gone through online learning.
Yeah.
And they said one of the biggest challenges for them was really the lack of a structure in terms of these types of meetings. And I don't know if I've missed something already, or if we had meetings on Monday and Tuesday that I just didn't know about. Someone chime in here. But, I think it's nice that we're having this kind of 2 hours to connect, and then it looks like another one kind of bi-weekly moving forward. Would that be correct?
Ish. So I'm the only one holding synchronous meetings. So we have one on October 11th, and that is you're going to each do mini presentations. That's an important thing of going through an MBA, is learning how to speak in front of people, prepare material, so on and so forth. So that'll be the focus of that one, purpose-driven companies. And then on November 29th, we have another one, and that is around diversity, equity, and inclusion and global dexterity. And fingers crossed, we'll see. I'm hoping that we can get James Mills to talk at that. He's author of The Adventure Gap and a huge spokesperson and advocate for diversifying the outdoor industry. So hopefully we'll have a guest speaker that day. And then on, oh God, challenging my memory, December 19th, we would have our final meeting, and Ralph will be at that one, where you all present your research proposals in teams. So Chris, as far as other meetings, I would stay on top of your email and really look at the details in Blackboard. So hopefully if professors are having synchronous meetings, it should be in that week, you know, that there's a day and a time to dial in and Zoom information and all of that. But maybe other folks can help out with what went on this week.
Chris, I can speak to that too. I was looking at Monday, and there was the short, brief discussion intro, and then basically what I got was a bunch of reading that we were doing, but also same with on Tuesday as well. I've kind of outlined the same in my schedule to have those meetings, but it was a little unclear with the syllabus and everything on else. So both myself and actually Caressa were talking about that, how a little bit of scheduling is a little bit new with this online terminology compared to be there Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Okay, so that's helpful. So are you saying that you were not notified by Scott or Jay about a synchronous meeting?
There just weren't any. It was more, we have one next Monday, I believe, with Scott. And
okay, gotcha.
In the meantime, it's more just, do some reading, get prepared, kind of ease our way into it.
Okay.
But, some of the feedback I got, like I mentioned before, was that, it's good to have these meetings because probably similar to Seth, I have somewhat of a Google Calendar filled with all these different things and dates and times. And, without the meetings, I think that unfortunately I may at some point kind of lose track of where I am. And, between October 11th and November 29th, that's a large period of time where, I can let things lapse if other things come up. And I know I'm going to have a lot of things coming up in that time outside of just this. So the feedback I was getting from folks that have gone through the process is that the more meetings, the better. Having them be mandatory may not be the best thing in the world, but at least having them to touch base and have a little bit more structure did help other folks that have gone through the process. And you've probably seen this too in your teaching over time, perhaps.
Yeah, so what I would say is speak with your professor. So as far as scheduling for this course, in Blackboard, there's a calendar, and we have endeavored to put every due date and every meeting in that calendar. On mine, it's indicated by black bars. I don't know if it will be on yours, but 603 is a black bar. So that should help you get an overview. As far as due dates and falling behind and things like that, we have something due every week. I'm pretty positive. Every week, and that's also in the calendar, just so you can, just to give you sort of benchmarks, so you're not going for 2 months at a time and losing track.
Totally.
I can say for my units that if you all get together as a cohort, or even half of you or a quarter of you, and for my units, if you'd like just to have sort of an open forum where we talk about different things, I'm absolutely game. So, but I'll look to you for that, to let me know if we should schedule at least during, so we have a purpose one. We don't have something next week, but the following week we do. I don't have anything scheduled for employee engagement, but we do for diversity. So there's really only one of my units where we're not having a synchronous meeting, and I would be happy to just get on and chat if folks would like that.
Cool.
All right,
I know that there was a first meeting for Jay's class. I think there was just some confusion because it said on Blackboard that they were supposed to be on Wednesdays, but he emailed us that it was going to be Tuesday. And I think Scott's class isn't starting his meeting time until October 1st. And he's just going to do like an open time and we can ask questions and whatnot.
and I know, I mean, this, for some of you, this whole process of getting in the program was super fast and furious. Some of you, I don't even know if you have your books yet. And so I know a few of us have talked about, all right, let's just kind of let them get into the program without saying, okay, you've got your books on Friday and on Monday we're going to discuss it and you need to have a presentation. So we're trying to be really conscientious about giving you that time to really be prepared and at least get ready to jumpstart.
Hey, Brooke, a question. I heard mention of Jay's class. Is maybe he the product track?
Yep.
What's going on?
Yep.
Because I'm a service track, so I'm not really
I'm sorry. Say that
I'm
again.
a service track, so I'm just curious. Is he the other class that's going on for the product track?
Jay is product, Kevin is service.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks.
And then Scott is marketing. And so what we've lined out, I know Jay is Tuesday because we were originally going to have Tuesday, but he needed that day. I believe Scott is Monday. We're Thursday. And so that would put Kevin on Wednesday, I believe. Cool.
It's on Tuesday as well.
Oh, okay. There you go. So thank you all for being, or at least Chris, for starting us off and being really candid. That's incredibly helpful. The online can be really tough because it's not like I'll see you getting a beer and see that you're like crying in the corner because you missed a meeting or overjoyed because you had the most phenomenal conversation with someone. So just tons and tons of communication is really helpful, and asking for help. Like, I don't get about this scheduling. I'm having a problem with Zoom, anything. Just please reach out to me or your other professors and let's work it out rather than let kind of tensions or anxiety or miscommunication build. Cool, I'm seeing nodding, thanks. And I keep seeing more. Oh, good, there's lots of chatting going on. Okay, let me just catch up. Okay, Sam was leaving. Sam is on a flight, so he had to leave. And Sam said he didn't know there was a calendar. That's helpful. I don't know what the other professors have done. That's just something, when we had our session a couple weeks ago with all of you, that's something we heard loud and clear is please let us know due dates way ahead of time so we can organize and kind of organize our lives in a way that we can meet deadlines. All right, so now already Chris is feeling conscientious about like making more meeting times. No worry, it won't be a have to thing. Okay, cool. What other questions do you have?
I guess I have a question about the with the assignments for the reading with the Ripple. Is with the workbook, is that something we're supposed to be doing like in conjunction with the reading or after we're done, or what do you see for that?
Yeah, so I'm someone who likes to get a concept and mess around with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see all of your faces, but I can only see a few of your faces. So the way I would do it is I would read something and then do the exercises to really try to dig deeper into whatever that concept is, but you're welcome to do whatever you want. You're not turning in the workbook. It's just, the reason I chose this book was really a couple of reasons, but one, at least in my experience, the most beneficial part of both my master's and my PhD was staying up late with friends and trying to work through issues and getting deeper in issues and making them messier and sort of expanding our conception. And you all may not have that as much. Just because you're not going out and getting a beer together, you're not seeing each other, getting a breakfast burrito. But I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to reach out to one another and be like, hey, do you want to get together for 20 minutes on blah, blah, blah day? Or who can chat with me about this? I really encourage you to reach out. The other thing is, the other reason I like the workbook, well, I guess I didn't really finish that thought. Right, so it allows you to go deeper and have, it asks you probing questions that you might not ask yourself if you're just reading, and it gives you a place to scribble out ideas. So I'm not collecting it. If you don't want to use the workbook, that's fine. I do think it will probably help a lot of you, depending on your learning styles. But the point of Ripple is to allow you greater insight into your leadership because you're being prompted to investigate it from different angles. The sort of deliverable for Ripple is your leadership paper that's tying in with purpose. So that after you've done this inquiry with Ripple into your leadership style, and after you've done your purpose inquiry, hopefully, I feel pretty confident saying you will have a better understanding of your signature leadership style. I am a 1000% advocate that there's no one way to lead except for to be yourself. If you're trying to be anyone else, if you're trying to follow somebody's 20 steps of being a perfect leader, it's not going to be authentic, and therefore it's not going to be powerful. So with Ripple in purpose, it's about delving into your strengths, your limitations, your passions, your style, and being able to articulate what that is at the end of those units. That was pretty long-winded. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, what else? I think someone else started to talk.
I have a question. So for all of us communicating, I know that with Zoom, we have to have a meeting code to get in to talk to all of each other. Is there anywhere posted on Blackboard that we can maybe put everyone's contact information so we could potentially Skype each other or call each other or whatever it is to try and get in contact with each other? Because I don't really know how else we're supposed to if we're not inside of a Zoom meeting.
I think Wendy said she was going to do that, so I will double check on it. The place we were going to put it is in that Blackboard orientation class. But I will check on that. So phone, email.
Thank you.
And you can also, you can get a free Zoom account. The reason we don't have a free one here is because we can record it and save it for later. But you all can establish a Zoom account, and I don't remember how many people can join, but that's free. So that might be another option for you all.
Google Hangouts also, if people have Gmail, we can do a multi-person video chat that's totally free if everybody posts a Gmail account.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, that would be awesome because I know that we have a Facebook group for one of our classes, but I don't really want to bog down that Facebook group that's for our marketing class.
Should we just make a cohort Facebook page? Not that I could be the one to do it because I'm not that good at that, but I think that's what I was thinking as you were talking through this.
Yeah, somebody already made one. If you go in the
Thanks for the invite.
I think he posted it on the marketing.
Okay, so it's a marketing it sounds like there's a marketing specific.
There is one for the course, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I think it's the marketing course that has a Facebook page. Yes.
Yeah, there's an additional one that was created just for everyone in the cohort as well that was on there.
What's it called?
Course.
I'll pull it up.
Oh, Mark did it?
Yeah, Mark set it up. Outdoor Industry MBA inaugural cohort on Facebook.
Awesome.
Nice. Thanks, Sam. All right, what other questions do you have? I got to do the obligatory like 10 to 15 seconds of silence to make sure no one's really speaking or plans to speak. So let's get to 2 truths and a lie. I promised a little prize. Are you ready? Oh, I got to actually see myself to see if I'm showing the camera. Oop. There we go. Okay, ready? Dun, 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 dun. So you have a little sticker, a frisbee, but wait. It lights up and it changes colors. Woo! And actually Jay works for Rethink, and this is their product. So you can ask him about it when we get there. So whoever gets the correct number or the greatest number of correct answers for the lie will get this in the mail. So what we'll do is just go around and first say your 2 truths and a lie. So I'm going to read the one, since not everyone could make it. I asked them to send me theirs. So this is Alan. Identify which one is the lie, but not yet. Wait till the end. So Alan, I was fully certified raft guide with 300 plus hours guiding Royal Gorge in Colorado Springs. I recently placed last of race finishers in a mountain biking race. I met my wife as part of a missing persons search while on the Western Mountain Rescue Team. Okay. And then you have mine. I was the buyer of hard goods at EMS in New Hampshire in the late 90s. I've gone 75 days without a shower, and I provided leadership development in the bush to Australian minimum security prisoners. Evans. I am deathly afraid of water and don't know how to swim, but have always wanted to do triathlons. I have hiked 22 of Colorado's 53 14,000 foot peaks. And I have flown at least twice a year since birth, but over the past 2 years have developed a severe anxiety of flying. Kennedy. I am a good mountain biker. I've camped for 2 weeks, and I run about 100 miles every week. But I realized she didn't tell me which one is the lie, so put it down in case she joins us. But, okay, Michael Clayton. I got in 35 days of skiing during the 17-18 season. I have hiked 23 14ers in the state of Colorado. And during my undergrad at Western, I snowshoed up and skied down Mount Emmons in Crested Butte. All right, go ahead and jump in.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. I joined a Boundary Water canoe trip as a teenager, never having canoed before. I helped put on and set up Banff Mountain Film Festival in my hometown. I learned to sew while working at an outdoor clothing retail store and did most of the repairs on all the goods brought in.
Right on. Okay, and who was that? My name's not popping up for me.
It was Addie.
Addie, thank you.
Welcome.
I'm gonna jump in next because one of mine is, my first camping trip ever was on the Boundary Waters canoe area. I've called in multiple search and rescue helicopters, and I cliffed out a mono skier last season at Park City. Now, Steph.
Thanks, Steph. How about James?
Yeah, mine are, I've hiked a 14er with Governor Hickenlooper. I've biked from Denver to Durango in one shot, and I worked on the project of bringing Outdoor Retailer to Denver.
Dan?
Yeah, my first one is I'm taking time out of my honeymoon to be in this meeting.
Oh God, I hope that's the lie.
The second is I've traveled to all 50 states, and I've summited Mount Kilimanjaro and traveled to Africa 4 times, all for fun.
Drew?
Hey guys, Drew here. Mine are, I've been a certified ski instructor in 4 disciplines at Crested Butte Mountain Resort. I've summited all of Colorado's 14,000-foot peaks, and I've run the Leadville 100 twice.
Rich?
Hey, so mine are, I once sold a $1 bill for $5 on Mount Rainier. I got into a boxing match with the Aurora Borealis in Alaska. And my worst OI job ever was guiding Dr. Phil up Mount Bierstadt in 2008.
Kirsten? You have to unmute.
Sorry about that. Mine are, I've duckied Westwater Canyon in Utah twice with no carnage. I manage a budget of $105,000 for outdoor rec programs, and I've rafted the Grand Canyon twice.
Seth? And then Kirsten, go ahead and mute again. Thanks. Seth, you need to unmute.
How about now? Can everyone hear?
Yep.
All right. Let me see where mine. Here are mine. I helped teach a course in coral reef ecology where scuba diving was mandatory. I have biked all 486 miles of the majestic Colorado Trail. I telemark ski and have competed in the extreme competitions for many years.
Thanks. Saren?
Okay. Mine are that I've traveled to 12 countries. My brother's an Olympic skier, and I've been in a Comcast commercial.
Chris?
Hey, wrote them down because they're hard to remember. No. I joined PSIA 20 years ago this December. I don't know how to ski, and I rafted. My first raft trip was on the Gauley River during the Gauley River Festival with 5 drunken bros in lacrosse helmets. Terrifying.
Teresa?
Okay. Mine are, I have done RAGBRAI, which is the bike ride across Iowa, 6 times. I am terrified of heights, but love jumping off cliffs into water and have jumped from as high as 60 feet. And I've done 7 14ers with my son, who's 11, and my daughter joined on 3 of them.
Thanks. Addie, you said you went, right? Great. Drew went. Caitlin?
Okay, so I've spent the last 2.5 years as a glacier guide in Alaska. I spent a month of my life trekking through Nepal, and I was on the junior Olympic team for triathlons, but had my foot amputated.
Okay, Carissa?
So mine are, I recently had knee surgery to replace bone and cartilage, and I've been on crutches for 3 months. My second is I've been heli skiing in Alaska, and third was I've unicycled Crested Butte Mountain Resorts Bike Park.
Sam?
Howdy. You guys hear me okay? I'm in the airport. All right, the first one is I'm an Eagle Scout. My second is that I've visited 48 of the 50 states. And I love to hunt both waterfowl and big game.
Thank you. My pictures keep reordering, so is there someone who has not gone?
Hi, this is Becca.
Thanks, Becca.
Yeah. Mine are I have a dog named Willis, a 3-year-old yellow lab. I had 12 people in my high school graduating class, and I've been to Kenya 3 times.
Thanks. Okay. Does anyone need to hear anyone else's again before we do the reveal? Okay, Teresa, what's your lie?
I have never done RAGBRAI.
Thank you. Becca? You need to unmute.
That I have a dog named Willis. I don't have a dog.
Michael's lie is he has not done 23 14ers. I don't know about Kennedy's. Evans is that he's hiked 22 of Colorado's 14ers. And Alan's lie is that he was fully certified raft guide. My lie is that I was not a buyer of hard goods at EMS. All right, Caitlin?
Mine was I have not had my foot amputated.
Carissa? Is it Caressa or Carissa?
It's Caressa with an
Caressa. Okay, thanks.
Mine was I have not been heli skiing in Alaska.
Sam?
Mine was that I have never been hunting.
Rich?
Yeah, I've actually never guided Dr. Phil, but I hear he's awful.
Kirsten?
I have never been down the Grand Canyon.
Seth?
I've always wanted to bike the whole Colorado Trail, but I haven't done all of it.
James?
I have not hiked a 14er with Governor Hickenlooper.
Saren?
Mine is that I have not traveled to 12 countries.
Dan?
Mine is that I am on my honeymoon, and I've only been to 49 of the 50 states.
Slacker. Good God.
My wife says hi.
Addie?
Mine is that I do not know how to sew, and I'm a horrible sewer, so I never did any repairs on outdoor gear.
Drew?
I've summited 34 14ers, not 54.
Caitlin?
I think I did mine already.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? Just remind me what yours was?
I haven't had my foot amputated.
Right. I should have remembered that one. Steph?
I've only called in one search and rescue helicopter, not multiple.
Okay, all right. The pictures are definitely reordering on me. Anyone not reveal?
Yeah, I know how to ski. I was just kidding. Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Anyone else?
Saren, what was yours? I missed it.
Mine was that I haven't gone to 12 countries.
Addie, what was yours? I missed it.
That I don't know how to sew. So the third one.
Any other clarification needed? Okay, who thinks they have a high number of the correct number of lies identified?
Becca's killing it.
Saren is 7, 4, 5. Can anyone beat 7? Oh, Becca has 9. Can anyone beat 9? Nice. Golf clap for Becca. Congratulations. Becca, please email me your address so I can send you the glow in the dark Frisbee. All right, right on, everyone. Thanks for doing that. And, you know, if you're remembering any of the other kind of crazy ones that people talked about, it's great fodder for discussion when we get together. Okay, I wanted to comment on your introductions, online introductions. I saw quite a few themes. Folks looking to increase their business acumen, people loving to be outdoors. We had 2 specific mentions about peanut butter. Interesting. Are there any peanut butter allergies in the group? 1 peanut butter allergy. Okay, so please.
Yes, Drew, please consider. Thank you.
Yes, okay, so please don't bring peanut butter to events. Maybe we'll stay away from that so we can keep Drew alive.
You can have peanut butter at events. I just cannot consume the peanut butter. It's fine, guys.
Okay, great. Dan only eats peanut butter. Okay, fantastic. A bunch of folks are really interested in sustainability, social and ecological. A lot of folks are, or a few folks are aspiring entrepreneurs at some point, think they want to start their own business. A lot of people really love helping one another and inspiring others and helping them connect to the outdoors. There is kind of trepidation or anxiety about figuring out how to balance school, job, family, personal, apparently being on a honeymoon, my God. Those are, balancing is, you're very validated in fear and feeling some trepidation around that. It is not going to be easy at all. If you are just doing school, it'll probably be a lot. If you're doing school and job, it's overwhelming. And if you're doing school, job, and family, you just have to prioritize. That's all there is. You're not going to be doing everything 100%. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm trying to introduce some realism to it. It's a lot to juggle. It will be stressful, and hundreds of thousands of people around the world have done it, and so can you. Lean on each other for help. If there's some deadline you can't make, talk to your professors as soon as possible to try to make arrangements. It's just going to be hard. It's going to be very fulfilling, but it's going to be hard. Other people had fear about being online. And again, any of these, you know, your fears, your trepidation, your anxiety, it's valid. So please don't feel like you're the lone person. I have not been on a, well, that's not true. I've taught at one university where we got together just 3 times a year, and the cohort got together. And other than that, it was just the student and the mentor working together. I work at the Masters of Environmental Management program here, where some people are in the classroom and some people are online. And I've seen really fantastic relationships build with the online people. And it just takes an extra effort. Like I said, you're not going to be bumping into each other at the coffee shop. And so it just takes a bit of extra effort reaching out. Certainly the Facebook group will help allow people to get to know you personally as well as professionally, because it's those sort of emotive ties that allow us to rely on each other in tough times. I'm happy to help in any way I can. Just let me know. Ask for help, ask for help, ask for help. Let's see. Any other comments? It looks like some folks were able to read each other's postings, but any other kind of trends or ahas you saw when you were reading each other's? Okay, so if your chat isn't open, Caitlin's looking to set up optional study groups at a designated place and time. So why don't you connect with her if you're interested in doing that. And Caitlin, maybe I can volunteer you, or it looks like you're sort of volunteering yourself to organize that. So if you're interested in being put on that list, why don't you email Caitlin? And Caitlin, why don't you just pop up your Western email there so folks can see it?
Guys, I can't remember. Is the student one or first name dot last name?
First name dot last name.
Got it. And I figured the Western email is a good place to start with everyone. And then if we decide that we like a certain place or whatever, we can kind of figure that out, whether that's Google or Skype or kind of some of the other meeting places online. But that way we can at least get something going.
Cool. Thanks for doing that, Caitlin. Okay, feels like we're cruising right along here. I am a huge proponent of helping people in general, from executives to, my 10-year-old son, and certainly undergrad and grad students of asking for help. It's something that I don't think we do well at all in our society, and we all need help at some time or another. We tend to love to help people and get great satisfaction from that, but we often don't allow others to feel that satisfaction by asking them for help or accepting their help. I think as far as leadership goes, it's really critical to ask for help. You're going to get to know some of your weaker areas. And so being able to reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm not great at running meetings. I'm hoping that you'll take the reins on this one. Or my numbers aren't great. Can you look over the spreadsheet? It empowers people, and it actually can enhance their leadership style because they're being given more responsibilities. So anyway, that's why I wanted to have you all share an area in which you're currently being challenged, or an area you're struggling with, so that you're putting it out there to our community so that we can reach out to one another and say, hey, I had a similar situation, wondering if you want to get on a phone call, or check out these resources. These were really helpful to me. Or I'm here if you need a sounding board. But I want to keep it a bit informal, where everyone shares and maybe we ask a clarifying question or two, but we don't offer help right now. We simply reach out via email or phone and offer that help. And I would say the sooner the better, simply because if we put it on our desk and a week goes by, then other priorities take place. Actually, I'm going to switch right now. Switch that tactic. When somebody shares in the chat room, say, I can help. Or like if James is asking for something, Addie can say, James, I can help. And then James, it's your responsibility to follow up with those people who offered help. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, so I will start with Michael. So he says, my largest area of professional struggle has always been my ability to speak in front of large groups of people, especially about uncomfortable issues, and it continues to trouble me. I've always suffered from anxiety when it comes to making important presentations and speeches. This problem is exacerbated when I don't know the audience well, or the issue at hand is negative in nature. I know that I'm well-spoken, empathetic, and respectful to others, but I lose my confidence at important moments. In general, I want to have the confidence to speak in front of larger groups of people more comfortably. In the past, I have had success speaking in front of groups of people that I know well with great success, and I'm constantly being pushed into positions of leadership that require me to stand up and speak out. Getting over my anxiety of speaking in front of large groups and unfamiliar faces will allow me to further my leadership abilities in ways I can only imagine now. To work on this, I plan to push my comfort zone during this program and test myself, but I also hope to be working with professional mentor one-on-one in the near future. I truly believe the only way for me to overcome this is to practice and actually do it. Awesome. So I see help from Sam and Rich. Fantastic. Thank you, you two. Sam, I know that you are dealing with planes, so do you want to go next in case you have to skedaddle?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. Let me just jump over to my email. Cool. So I wrote this for you to read, so I did it in third person. I'm going to read it in third person so I don't slip up.
Okay.
Okay. Sam's currently in the midst of planning his biggest project of the year. It is 31 days from its due date. Tomorrow, everything sets in motion. This project is a beast. It requires 6+ months of planning, many hired vendors to manage, and a team of a few hundred staff to keep track of. To say there's a lot on the line would be an understatement. For the last several months, beginning in June, Sam has been in contract negotiations with his primary vendor, who's responsible for about 70% of the event. Despite having many conversations with the owner of this company to reach a compromise, they will not agree to my terms or to our company's policy. He's refused to start work tomorrow without reversing our previously negotiated changes. To add to the pressure, this vendor has been working on the project for 12 years, and I've been working on it for a year. A strong sense of entitlement and ownership is held by this vendor. Fire and replace them, concede to their terms, hold firm and make it the last offer. I'm not sure what to do next. Those questions have occupied a considerable amount of my time that I wasn't accounting for. I'm tied up in fielding management's opinions, discussing legal ramifications, considering possible business implications, and researching alternative options. My hopes to gain perspectives from the group on how to manage a hired team member that may not get along with you or might require you to trade personal values for company values, and sometimes has maybe too much responsibility on the project, the goal you're trying to reach. I'll mute. Sorry for the airport.
Great. Thank you, Teresa. Is anybody else needing to scooch out? I've forgotten who's coming in late and who's leaving early.
I'm leaving at around 7.
Okay, go for it, Eddie.
Okay, so my main issue of right now is not really with this course or with the marketing course. It's mainly with the bridge course that I'm taking. So if any of you guys are in part of that to do finance and working with numbers, I would greatly appreciate any help there, just because I have no background whatsoever in finance classes. So to get prepared for next semester, I would really just reach out to people helping with numbers. And since there's not a lot of work posted just yet, it might be within the next upcoming weeks. But I'm really just looking for anyone who has strong background in business finance, because most of mine is centered on hospitality and service management, not working with numbers or money whatsoever. So that's a quick rendition, but if anyone has specific knowledge of finance, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thanks, Eddie. Perfect. Cool. So Saren and Addie can connect. Great. Cool. Okay, Addie, why don't you go ahead and mute? And James, do you want to go?
Yeah. So I work for a Parks and Rec department, and we have a board of directors, or like a district board, and it doesn't involve me so much dealing with them directly, but our managers do, and that's who I report to. And there's a lot of disconnect and tension that's been going on between them for probably about the last year or 6 months. And at first, it was really easy for me to stay out of. I'm not, personally involved with them or personally offended by anything they do. But it seems like the kind of the bad moods and the lack of motivation waterfalls down to me sometimes, and can kind of take the wind out of my sails, and it's hard to stay motivated when my management's not super motivated. So that's probably what I've been struggling with most as far as kind of the leadership role in my workplace goes.
I have a clarifying question. Are you looking for tips to manage up?
Yeah, I would say that would apply.
Okay, Ralph is back.
Hi.
They are sharing their struggles.
Cool.
And we talked about the importance of asking for help in a program, but just as role modeling leadership as well. And so they're putting something out there, and then their colleagues are offering help. And then it's the spokesperson's responsibility to reach out to those folks who offer help.
Wonderful.
Cool. Okay, let me see. I want to make sure that I don't leave my folks out. Evan is between professions, and his current work struggles are minimal. He has struggled in the past with blurring lines and becoming too comfortable with those above and below him. This makes it hard to give and take criticism without separating the personal from professional. In the past, he's ignored the problem. It's going to be shocking to you all, that didn't actually work. He has also attempted to limit his relationships to people in positions that he deals with regularly, but that really wasn't fun for anyone. So in some situations, this could be seen as an advantage, but in other, a severe hindrance. Now he tends to take it case by case, but if you have anything else to offer him, please do reach out. So that was, again, Evan. Not seeing any takers on that one. Okay. Alan, his current professional struggle centers on defining individual roles within a team hierarchy. His company defines floor-level employees as Tech 1, Tech 2, operator, and lead operator. These roles have increasing pay rates, but little differentiation in terms of job duties. He's been trying to assign tasks in line with each role's job description, but perpetual understaffing ensures that he uses whomever he has available. This creates an issue from a staff development perspective, as there is no defined pathway to earn promotions or prove yourself capable of more responsibility. He's had some success in organizing his own team. However, this creates an imbalance with other shifts, as his employees wonder why expectations are not consistent. What he seeks from the cohort is suggestions on how to empower employees to learn and work towards a higher position, while convincing his co-supervisors and managers that being consistent with job duty expectations is a worthwhile pursuit. Great, and Sam can help Alan. And just so you know, Sam, it's A-L-L-E-N. Okay, those are the only ones I have. So let's hear, Drew, do you want to go ahead? Can we get all the faces?
Yes, I'll go ahead. So I just wrote mine out and have one final wrap-up piece. So I work in a flat OpenScape tech company. It is intimidating for me to find a sense of belonging. I work in a sub-department of our operations and events division that was purchased by our now larger company. Functions of our company are interconnected yet segmented in the business's process and across the industry. Mentorship is a piece missing in my professional life. I've yet to find someone who is willing to meet me, invite me in, show me a path. I may come off as closed and reserved, but can only guess this is why I struggle finding with a guide. My colleagues, you, and professors can offer me insight on being courageous at work, being an advocate for myself, with so many projects with school and work going on around me. The task at hand I get so solely focused on. I think I need to be focusing on my development. And this was a recent challenge in creating an opportunity for advancement with the supervisor, however, was assessed as not suited well enough for a recent position of promotion. This may have been my biggest letdown in a while. So I'd like to find the balance in work, yet commingle in the social spectrum so that I can find and be a successful employee and leader.
Great, thanks, Drew. And you have an offer from Dan. And I will say, you know, Ralph and I haven't been chiming in to say we'll help. Go to your colleagues, and they're going to be phenomenal resources. Try some things out. If you're still struggling, reach out to, you know, really any of the professors. Cool. And that goes for everyone.
Yeah. I was going to ask, when you were told that you weren't quite suitable for the position, what was the reason?
It was kind of unique. It was a vulnerable moment in offering a piece of my weakness in the interview process, and that was maybe not being as assertive as I should have been in my current role. And so that was my delta takeaway from the supervisor interviewing me. So working on that, and that's kind of where that courageous piece comes from. You know, maybe I need to step into that a little bit more.
Can I follow up on that? A thought that comes to mind is the company that you're with sort of maybe more aggressive in their outlook toward people and working with people than you are?
That's a good question, Ralph. I'm not certain. And that's something I might need to feel out yet further.
Okay. Because if they are, there's not much you can do, because the fit might be a problem, right?
You're correct, yes.
Okay, how about Caitlin?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I'm having troubles with in my workplace recently is kind of my store. I work at REI, and my store has been going through a ton of changes in the last year and a half. So everything from moving locations to new store manager, kind of, we got the big hit. And with that, my direct supervisor, I'm often more of his organizer than often getting that input of how I can grow and become kind of a better leader and working into my role a little bit more, whereas it's more of a constant challenge to get him on top of his tasks and to encourage him to get his things done, or to kind of step outside of what's going on his computer. Kind of more relies on me as to be that direct relation with a lot of our team members. And so it's been interesting trying to fight with somebody with to push them to create ownership of their team, while also trying to grow myself as a leader. It's been a very interesting dynamic to try and work out and work through.
Thanks, Caitlin. Hopefully someone can help her out with some ideas, some strategies. Kirsten?
Probably my biggest issue that I've had lately actually came up today a lot, so this is very convenient. But it's getting teamwork and cohesion going on in our office. I am not in the leadership position, but it tends to fall to me frequently, simply due to default, having previous supervisory experience and whatnot, but the actual supervisor of the area that I'm overseeing has a tendency to just be of the opinion of, you get paid to sit around and do nothing anyway, so why put the effort into your job? But there's still work to be done. There's still customers to be taken care of. There's still equipment that needs to be taken care of. And I'm having a really hard time getting the staff to listen to me when their own direct supervisor is telling them, why bother?
Thank you. And this is fantastic. Every single person who has shared someone has had someone offer help. So this is about building a grad cohort. This is about building our culture, is really supporting one another and knowing folks can come to you, knowing that you can go to them, knowing that you can come to professors around. And we just have another offer for Kirsten. So thank you, everyone. Keep it up. Okay, Seth?
All right, so I am also one of these people that tends to write everything out because as a salesperson, I can shoot from the hip well, but when it's important, I tend to write rough drafts and edit a lot. So bear with me. I actually have two of them. The first one is quite interesting. I would like to talk about two problems, as one just came up today that I knew has been coming since June 4th. The ski resort I love working for the past 10 years has been a family-owned and operated resort for the past 58 years, and we just were acquired today by a publicly held company. I've appreciated and relished working in the independent company competing against the larger ski resorts trying to steal some of their market share. I've worked from the ground up where I am, but know I need to learn more leadership and management skills to further myself and be an asset to this new company that only knows me as being a traveling salesman. My question is, how do I make myself an asset to this new company to ensure I'm able to keep working in the resort and community I care so much about? Turns out my exit and hiring interview is tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. But yeah. The second one is a little bit more detailed, and it's actually been going on for a little bit while. I've been dealing with some work history with a couple past employees who have recently left. Having been working at the same company for the past 10 years, I've done many different jobs and positions. The one thing I've run into is a recent employee left a little sour taste in a lot of my previous customers and clients' mind. There was work that was unfinished. There was work that was not completely even started. There were issues on the road. There were lies. There were lots of other things like that. And turns out then we also lost another employee in the regional world as well, which I've dabbled in. So I've lost now 2 full-time year-round employees that I've worked with. I haven't led or managed them. And my manager now is kind of assuming that I'm just about to take on 2 full-time year-round jobs. Luckily, I think with this acquisition, one will be leaving. So I'm struggling with how to do my job, take on new responsibilities, and effectively clean up someone else's mess. So customer relations, workload balance, along with being a leader in this new job. And I was thinking about a couple of the ineffective solutions and effective solutions because I thought that was really nice. And the first one with the employee that was just not honest, not working hard. It turns out I was blind carbon copied and carbon copied on a lot of emails, and an ineffective solution was replying all. And it is always a double check your emails, but I felt as if when someone blind carbon copied me, they wanted me to know something. And yes, it may be private, but certain things at work should not be private because you're both working for the same company with the same objective. So that was a little ineffective. The other ineffective approaches I had were producing her pricing, promotions, and rate sheets along with a lot of other materials, which were part of her job description. I thought I was helping because I'd done it before, but where this person thought I was just stepping on her toes and doing her job. The effective solutions I found were chatting with my direct manager and understanding that an honest, open relationship is the only way forward, and it isn't personal, it's professional. As we are in a professional setting, we were not personal friends on the outside. The other communication that worked really well was just CCing the boss on everything. It was effective, it was efficient, and showed care. So what I'm seeking help for is I would like help with building leadership skills along with better understanding why certain companies and organizations have set up their levels of management as they have. Secondly, how to challenge these management levels or processes effectively when I think there are better organizational processes or procedures. This, I believe, will better allow me to know how and why certain organizations are that way, and thus better be able to see where I fit in or grow. And I'm looking for help with understanding those types of concepts.
Great. So you have offers from Chris and Dan. Chris about the first challenge and Dan perhaps about the second one, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Great. Okay, Saren?
All right. So I kind of wrote my challenge just about where I'm working right now. And when I moved to Durango from Crested Butte, I left a job at a ski shop that I absolutely loved and adored, but also mostly loved because of the community, and it felt like family working there. And that's what ended up keeping me there for so long. And when I was leaving Crested Butte, I had realized I'd stayed there for a lot longer than I had planned to, just because of people I cared about and not wanting to screw them over, so staying in a job not for the right reason. So with moving to Durango, I ended up getting a job at a river sports store, and I did not know anything for the most part about river sports other than I had been on a few raft trips. And so it's been a really interesting growing experience this summer because I've had to learn everything about every type of boat and learn how to sell it, and really it's been a really cool growing experience. But now we're kind of getting to the slow season, and I'm one of the full-time employees, and it seems like there's not a lot going on there in the slow season. But my boss has specifically told me she doesn't want to lose me to a local ski shop that I was hired at. And so I'm kind of in a weird place where I really like my coworkers at this river sports store where I'm working, and I really do enjoy working there. But I don't really feel like they have much of a purpose for me being there year round other than just to sit there while other full-time employees are out of town. And I fear of getting sucked into another job because of the community and not speaking up for what I really want and what I really need. And one of those main reasons is we also do U-Hauls of all things during the year to keep the business afloat. And so that's one of the things that you get stuck with being a full-time employee, which is a complete burden. I would never wish it upon anyone. So I feel like I'm kind of struggling because I start this other job tomorrow with working at a ski shop, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it because I know skiing like the back of my hand, and it's not going to be as much of a challenge for learning things, but I don't know. I just know I'll enjoy it, and it's more of a year-round store versus a very seasonal store. And I really love the place that I do work, but I also don't want to put a different opportunity behind and in the past if I'm just committed to one place.
Thank you. Dan?
All right. So I inherited a pretty broken staff at the current company that I manage. I've got about 85 people that report to me. And over the last few years, there's been almost no management of the staff. And obviously it's created a vacuum that some of the more senior staff has filled. And it's not always been productive filling of that vacuum. So there's a lot of feeling that some people are untouchable, that, the company would fall apart without this very senior staff member, but it's those very senior staff members that are creating, havoc for me as the manager. And there's some bullying that happens as a result of it. And so I'm staring down the barrel of having to have some really difficult conversations with some very senior people that do report to me, and the consequences that are going to come from potentially having to fire some people that are very entrenched in the company, in the culture of the business, so there's two parts of it. There's the actually dealing with these people who, a lot of people feel are untouchable, and then the potential fallout from having to make some strategic but necessary moves that are going to be highly, highly unpopular. And I've been tasked by my bosses that some of these things need to happen, whether you call them strategic firings or whatever. But I'm kind of staring down the barrel of making some really big staff shakeups that are going to be surprising to a lot of people. But I think down the road, they're necessary now, and down the road they're going to be helpful. But it's going to be a really difficult process and something I'm not looking forward to. And I guess implementing these changes are not something that in this moment I'm prepared for. And yeah.
So are you seeking general advice or resources to help you through the process?
Yeah, general advice of, how do you, again, how do you have these conversations? I mean, obviously very directly and respectfully, but with people who are very entrenched in the culture and the operation of the company, and then dealing with the fallout that potentially could come from it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Saren. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Chris?
Hey, a lot of big stuff going on. Mine was a little less serious than firings and hirings and things like that. But, to go along with some of that is, working for Vail, there is a lot of opportunity and movement as we acquire now. We're up to 18 mountains. Sorry, Crested Butte guys. With reappointments and moving around the country and repositioning leaders in roles that will be beneficial to their development in the future. And as it moves from GMs and COOs down, there is somewhat of a carousel that goes on. And I've seen a lot of people move around the country and to different places over time. And right now I am in that position where I'm trying to balance having a 10-month-old daughter, 2 old dogs, moving, school, and now the prospect of moving from Beaver Creek back to Vail for a promotion, and then having to build and create a new team because there is so much turnover in a seasonal business. So trying to stay put with a team I know and love and is very high functioning and successful, or take somewhat of a leap of faith and move into a role that's going to be a lot of work and a lot of responsibility moving forward, which ultimately will be the right move. Timing's never perfect, but we'll see. So that's kind of my dilemma as of yesterday.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations on the baby and or the promotion. All right. Hopefully someone's got some advice there. Becca.
So I most recently was in the restaurant business. I GM'd a restaurant that was part of a large chain based here in Colorado. And I left that position, came back not really knowing what I wanted to do, and so I decided to do this MBA program. And I'm just serving tables now, so not necessarily a current struggle going on, but something that I struggled with in that GM role is setting clear expectations. But then what comes along with that is motivating people to meet those expectations, identifying the people who either don't know the expectations, or worse, the people that don't care what the expectations are. And then I have a problem with life in general of being patient through those conversations and through the processes, especially when it comes to people and their stubbornness, kind of similar to probably Dan's situation, people that think they know more than you, or think that they don't need to meet the expectations because they're entitled to not meet those expectations.
Thanks, Becca. Drew, you've gone. Steph?
I work for a nonprofit, and those always come with their own bag of tricks. I think nonprofit world is awesome because everybody has so much heart and cares so deeply about what we do, but there's not always a ton of leadership. And at my particular job, a lot of our higher ups started as interns, and we're not provided with leadership training or courses like that. And so now we have executive level people who have only ever known the organization that I'm with. And so we have a current interim CEO. Our CEO just left. And then just a lot of chaos happening in our upper management and leadership. So I guess if anybody's experienced nonprofit chaos before, just talking through that. And then the main things are, how do you continue to show up with an optimistic view, keep leadership accountable, and help reshape culture?
You are not the only one, Steph. Culture is has been paramount for many, many years. I think a lot of organizations are realizing how critical it is. Unfortunately, not all organizations, but hopefully we'll see more of a sea change. Okay, Teresa? You need to unmute, Teresa.
Okay. So mine is that after working for others for a long time in my career, I decided to go the freelance route. So I'm doing freelance digital marketing. And so I'm kind of growing it. And it's a new venture for me. So right now I'm working, with any kind of business, but definitely would like to focus my efforts on businesses in the outdoor industry. Ideally it would be more freelance or part-time, but if it's the right position, I would, consider it, absolutely, but definitely trying to focus on that as with kids and everything, just looking for flexibility. So I have, I'm definitely, it's kind of new. So when I talk about like what I've tried and what I've experienced, so I've just, been going out there and trying to do as much in-person networking as I can, reaching out. I'm fortunate to live in Denver, where we had Startup Week this week, and they had a bunch of outdoor events. They had a panel last night and a mixer, so I went to that, and just targeting companies and connecting to employees on LinkedIn, so, and other like outdoor focused websites. Seeing some traction within my existing network. So that's good. I'm just very impatient, of course. So these things take time, and I'm not a very patient person. So I guess from this group is just any kind of networking, I think would be wonderful. Any companies or nonprofits, who need any digital marketing help.
Nice way to put it out there. Okay, Rich.
Yeah, it's going to sound familiar to a lot of people. I think James, Steph, and Kirsten probably will recognize themselves in this. But right now I manage 3 people, and together we manage like 6 regionals. And this team of 3 people, we're kind of falling apart right now. The number 2 guy next to me is he's going through a really rough patch personally, and it's completely overtaken his ability to perform at work. Another one of our team was gone for a month, doing some training, and then the most junior person on the team really had to pick up a lot of their slack, and mine too, because I was gone for a couple weeks as well. So it's not just a workload issue. It's kind of there's this performance cycle that I like, where you come into a job, and then you're really hungry, and you start ramping up, and you're really efficient, and you're just crushing it. You kind of plateau at your high peak of proficiency, and then the burnout hits, right? And we are all on the downward slope right now with this burnout. So between us all, pretty much we've been here for about 3 years. The Army's pretty good about moving people around every 2 to 3 years to prevent that, but we've all been here long enough to feel it. And, it's the perfect storm of a recent divorce and a girlfriend breaking up and increased workload and, just the burnout factor. So I've been trying to manage it as best I can, just by reassigning duties. But really, it feels like you're inside a sinking submarine, just, putting duct tape on the walls. And so my goal, I'm about to rotate out. And my goal is to, if I find myself in this situation again, is to identify these things earlier. But even if I do that, I hope in this course or to get some recommendations from my fellow classmates on what maybe some techniques for organizational behavior that can help identify it and then fix it.
Great. Thank you, Rich. Carissa?
So I'm in a similar boat as Seth. I also work for CBMR, and my problem was kind of not solved, but a lot of it will change given the changeover today and a fresh start tomorrow. So I still think it's relevant though, because it's something I do struggle with, and I found myself in a different management team facing as well. So ultimately, I had found that in the current leadership role, our team that was at CBMR, it was really difficult to gain any sort of professional development or have opportunities for team building. We all kind of work in silos, and it seemed like our team meetings were even siloed. Very little collaboration, and a lot of the times you would reach out about, going and playing frisbee golf as just a team building activity, and the response was always positive, but it wasn't ever implemented. So we've had new team members for almost 6 months now that we have never even gone outside of work to get together or had any sort of structured opportunity to just break the ice. Obviously, there are only 6 of us, so it wasn't a huge problem, but I think it stems again from this leadership role or a team that just had kind of that siloed mindset. And I know with the transition, we're going to have new leadership roles new leaders put into our team. And obviously Vail Resorts is known for a lot of their professional growth opportunities and a lot of team conferences and things that they provide. But I guess at the end of the day, I'd had, one-on-one conversations about, how I wanted to either attend a conference or have the opportunity to travel, and was always denied it for budgetary concerns. However, I felt like it was not necessarily, that wasn't the true reason. It was that you're here to do what we hired you and you're good at it, so just keep doing that. And I just have struggled in the past with having honest conversations with my managers about the way they're leading the team. And especially it's happened to me a couple of times now where if a lot of the times where a lot of the team members are feeling that way, and then it becomes kind of a toxic situation, and it is really difficult once that starts kind of funneling like that to actually put it to a stop. And so my struggle is I don't know how to have that honest conversation one-on-one about someone's management style without feeling like I'm overreaching or stepping out of my bounds, kind of.
As soon as you started talking, Chris offered you some support, so
thanks.
Go to him. All right, thank you. Did we miss anybody? Okay, so we have not heard from Kennedy, Diana, and Mark. And so hopefully they will email you all with an ask for help. So what you've done, you've all heard of feedback, right? Which is helping someone to improve, hopefully with very specific positive or constructive suggestions. What you all essentially just did was feed forward. And it's a term coined by Marshall Goldsmith. And it's the idea of saying, hey, I have a situation I'm struggling with. can you give me some suggestions? It's often misinterpreted as you needing to go to someone who is much more senior or has a ton more experience in your industry or the exact same situation. And with Feed Forward, you can often go to people who are in completely different industries. I've done it with my son, who's 10, and he's come up with phenomenal advice. So don't just ask your cohort, don't just ask your professors, but ask other people around you who aren't even in your industry. And it's pretty amazing the suggestions you get. And your response should be, thank you. Not, well, that's a stupid idea, or I've already tried that, but simply thank you, because then they will be willing to help you another time, hopefully. Okay, so your job, and it sounds like there were some themes. So I encourage you, if there are a couple people having the same type of situation and a couple people willing to help, just to be more efficient with your time, I encourage you to get on a meeting together. So then you have more voices, and you can maximize your time frame. Yeah?
Makes sense.
Okay.
I mean, I think what Brooke's saying is really vital when you've got such an excellent group of people together. You have resources that are unlikely to provide you with bad advice. How's that for double negative?
So I encourage you to scroll back through the comments. I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any offers to help Rich yet or Chris yet. Is that accurate? Rich and Chris, have you had any offers?
No, but I can't see the chat while I'm on. I have to go back and review it.
Yeah, I've had some offers in the private conversation world, so we're
fantastic.
Outside.
Fantastic. So please recall Rich's conundrum and reach out to him with offers to help. Would be fantastic. And Rich, if you don't get any, let's chat. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that too. If you feel like you'd like to just chat with me about any of this stuff, I'd be happy to talk with all of you.
Great. Okay, well that brings us to the end. Big congratulations to Becca. Becca, don't forget to email me your address. We've asked and offered help, figured out that we're all a bunch of liars. And and hopefully did a little bit of problem solving around being an online community and wondering about calendars and dates and things like that. In Blackboard, you should be able to go in and click on all of the calendars for the various classes, and so it can populate in the calendar. If your professors have not populated that calendar, I encourage you to reach out and request that they do so, and really just ask for help wherever you need it. And I know all of us are really excited to have this cohort and excited to be launching this. I mean, the first outdoor industry MBA in the States and only the second kind of thing in the world. So let's together make this phenomenal experience. Okay, so night for those of you who are going to bed. Or who am I kidding? You're in grad school. You're not going to bed till like 1 because you have so much work to do. But you can do it. You can do it. Please reach out with any clarification needed. Otherwise, we'll see as many of you as possible on the 11th back on the screen. So thanks, everyone, for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, folks.
Thanks, everyone.